Done. Hi everybody, I am Jared. I'm just making sure this is all working okay. Hopefully it is. If you can hear me, just let me know. Hi everyone, I am Jared, and I decided to start a weekly episode. Hi Abode, hi Arwa. Basically, I own and operate a paint and decorating company in Northern Ireland, and I also own and operate Paintworks NI Academy. So I love what I do. I love the trade, you name it, and for me, nothing excites me more than talking about it, talking to other decorators, painters, you name it, from all around the world, the US, from the UK, Ireland, you name it. And last year I decided to set up a private Paintworks NI Academy group, inviting like-minded people in a closed group to discuss the good, the bad, the ugly, and talking about all the stuff that it is hard to talk about, that you can't necessarily maybe just lift the phone to your mate and explain why someone hasn't paid, maybe why you're running behind on a job, maybe you're struggling to find resources, maybe your sprayer broke down, or you name it. But the good thing is, by building community, it's great to know you're not the only one. And sometimes you don't need to be told how to do something. Sometimes it's not about having an answer from someone, but just someone listening. And I share all the adversities, all the bullshit that I have faced in recent years owning and operating a business, what I've learned, the mistakes I've made, you name it. And it's been great offloading. I've shared some of my most personal stuff with everybody in that academy. And from starting the academy up in 2021, I loved meeting other people, loved meeting other decorators. I loved just starting to network with other people in the trade. And it's not even about, when guys and girls are in with me learning and training, it's the conversations you have, it's the crack, it's the common ground. And there's so many awesome people. You're gonna learn that awesome is my favorite word, and let's go. But the amount of class people I've met through the academy, and being able to offload, listen, and ultimately help each other. So I decided I wanted to go a bit bigger than that. I take in as many people as I can, as I own and operate Paintworks NI, but the academy is something, it's my passion. I love seeing people just get it, and I love seeing people learn and fall in love with the trade again, and just know, do you know what we do, we get to do this, and keeping it fun. So over the last couple of years, from having the academy group, actually it's less than a year, but what I've noticed is I'm meeting more people. I get to meet more people. I'll ring other decorators for help. I also get phone calls and messages daily from other decorators, and I just love learning and seeing how other people operate, and seeing how other decorators cope, how other decorators problem solve, how other decorators are just smashing it. And I think our trade, the paint and decorating trade, has ultimately it's went like that, bang, in the last sort of decade. The passion you see from other decorators and painters, and I love looking in and seeing and thinking, do they get as much joy out of looking at my stuff as I do theirs? And I love seeing people excel. But it's actually whenever you actually take a step back, and a lot of us don't in the trade, and see how far we've come through all the adversity, all the challenges. And I didn't do it enough. I didn't step back enough and go, am I doing okay, or celebrate the wins enough, or because I had no one to talk to or no one to share it with, because no one really gets it when you're a decorator or a painter or in the trades ultimately. So for me, it's a big thing about driving the community, and a problem shared is a problem halved, I think it is. And the more we share, the more we help the next person up, the better the industry will ultimately become. The more we can rise the industry together, you know, it takes everybody to get involved. So ultimately, I will go off in tangents. It is raw, real, and relatable, I call it. I'm literally sitting in my kitchen. I'll not tell you what's in the cup, but ultimately it's about meeting people in our industry across the UK and Ireland. So I want to do this every Thursday at 8 o'clock and just have a bit of crack, meet people within the industry, and once a month I am going to be going out to work alongside a painter and decorator from across the UK and Ireland. So people that I admire and look at and go, wow, and I want to know more about their story, because everyone has a story. Everyone has a story. Everyone has had big wins, big losses, come up against real challenging times, and I'm very much one of them people. But I think the more we share this and the more we talk about it, ultimately, the more pumped up we can get and encourage and attract more people into our industry. Painting and decorating is a class trade. It's the best trade. It is what it is. Nothing gets handed over. Nothing gets finished. People don't move into houses because unless we've said it's finished, now you can move in, sort of thing. So I love it. Thanks, AB. 100%. I will definitely just let me know, and we'll maybe get something arranged. That's what it's all about. I want to go to where you are, and I've also built this around what I can accommodate, what's going to work for me and keep it fun. So I know I can accommodate a day or two a month, and to going out and working with somebody, and I can do this easily every Thursday at 8 o'clock. Why not? It says I don't watch a whole lot of TV, but it'll stop me going on Netflix. So first up is David Murphy from Newtonards. David lives in the next town. It's about 4 or 5 miles away. I grew up in Newtonards, but I live in Malile, at the coast here by the sea, and I would call myself, I don't know what it's called, but I'm a Malile man. I love it. I love the water, and ever since I came back from New Zealand, where I lived for a while, it's all I could afford, so it was sort of ended up staying here. But anyway, so first up's David, and David, as far as I'm aware, works alongside Alan, works for him, and I have met David maybe twice in the paint shop in Newtonards, and David has actually been in with me in the academy. He did an Airless Basics course, and I got to know him and Alan briefly, but watching in at what David's doing and his work, and it just looks fun. He looks like he's having a ball, and I wanted to see if he wanted to come on and just talk some paint talk and get to know him a bit better. So I hope he's on. If he is on, if he could maybe join up, and I don't know how this works, but we'll try and see if we can get him on. There we go, David. Hopefully he can come on here.
The microphone, yeah, we'll go. I think that's it.
Trying to work this out. It's the first time for me. I don't know. It's the first time for you, but thanks for
Hardly, I can hardly hear you, mate. I don't know what's happening here. Microphone, can't hear you. That sounds better now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's it, mate. That's it.
So look, I was just saying briefly there. I don't know you personally. We have bumped into each other in the paint shop a couple of times. We literally live a couple of hours, a couple of miles apart. You're in the Nords. I am based in, well, I'm in Malile. But and again, we met at the academy. When you came in Malin and done the aerospace course, and I had a bit of crack.
Yeah.
So again, it's just as I say, this is all about learning a bit more about you, about what you do, and uh, paint life. So, if you want to maybe introduce yourself and what your business name and maybe what you love and enjoy about the trade and how long you've been in it.
Well, firstly, you probably don't realise that I've known you for a lot longer than what you're making out. Oh yeah, yeah. You and the family. Back whenever we were around about 16, 17, 18. And you and some of your family there too. So yeah, probably more than what you know. Probably not as close and together as what you would have thought, but definitely known you for a lot longer. So yeah, I'll be
You're
still class you.
we're not as old as what you're making out.
No, no, but I'm still class you as large. I wouldn't say you're a Malay man yet.
Oh no, I'm a Malay man, 100%, 100%. I love the drive home for sure.
Well, makes it life nicer whenever you have them views that you have.
I know, mate. I know. So how's work? How's life? How's things?
Yeah, I mean it's this time of year. I think for everybody, it can be slow. It can be stagnated at times. But we're working away. We've got some good work in front of us, especially if the weather turns
Yeah,
in the March, start of April. Hopefully, we'll be getting back outside and maybe get the shorts on.
I definitely think there's definitely been more of a lull this year. I think across the board, even ourselves, I think it's been much slower this year. I don't know whether or not it's the I don't know the news or I know Christmas is always a bit it's tight for everybody and getting through that first month and getting that first wage in for anyone who's paid monthly. But even at that, I think it's definitely it's been a weird start to the year, but I can definitely see a bit of a change starting already. A lot
Yeah,
more calls this week, a lot more emails. I mean, we've certainly this is the first week it's been pretty busy for Danielle in the office in terms of apart from that, it has been pretty slow, you
yeah.
know?
It's, I think it almost feels worse because you get to coming up to Christmas and everybody wants you and get things decorated for the tree and the decorations going up, and you're at such a high for that couple of months or those weeks leading into Christmas, for all of a sudden just to go and have
Yeah.
maybe next to nothing. And like I know there is guys out there that do struggle. I managed this year to kind of put people off and advise them, maybe not run up to Christmas is not the best time,
Yeah.
maybe do that. I kept myself a wee bit extra work, to start the year off and that, but I do see the change. Again, we're starting to get more and more coming in and inquiries and doing quotes and stuff. So, like I say,
I think
hopefully it's on the turn.
I think ultimately, even sort of maybe 5, 6 years ago, I tried to pre-plan. I knew it was going to start to be quieter, sort of the second week of December onwards. Nobody really wants you in the house, and then
Yeah.
sort of allowing, like, I never used to put money away for holiday pay. It was always one of them ones where it was just right. Maybe take a couple of days off and then just get straight to it.
Yeah,
Before money ran out. But I think now it's sort of being even sort of, I don't know, that preparedness and sort of accepting, like, January ultimately is going to be quieter. So how can we counteract that and take on works? And like you say, 100%, you're on the money there. Where maybe instead of people trying to cram it into the end of December, is saying like maybe the third week of January and thinking and start building up that work into January, February time
yeah,
is a big help. And sort of that, and rather than letting it get to sort of December and then going, ah, shit,
yeah.
we're going to get slow here. But
Yeah.
definitely, when do you sort of start taking on exterior work, David?
Uh, Normally we kind of we'll probably kind of open the books start of March to start doing quotes and stuff. I would say toward end of March, definitely starting with April. That's when we'll
Yeah,
kinda, you see the change. And Alan and I are laughing the last couple of days because we've actually seen in Newton Ards painters out in the rain doing exterior work, and we're going like, it's madness. It's
yeah,
madness. Why would you put yourself through it and do that sort of work? And I'm sure they feel that too. It's maybe somebody said, "Look, here's your job. This is what you're doing," and they're like, "Okay, I gotta go do it." They're picking a
and
wage up. That's why they're doing it. But it's strange to me. Good old
yeah.
plan there.
I'm laughing because yesterday I've had a course in all week, refinishing course, and nice and toasty. The infrared is going, the heater's going, you name it. And about 3:30, I went to the toilet and I come out just to see what it was like outside. We're talking this much away from flooding. We looked out, blocked drain, and like never happened before ever. And I
Yeah,
said to Brian's like, everything all right? I went, no, Brian. We've got this much water out the front, so I'm out on my knees trying to clear the drain. I don't know what happened, but I've never seen rain like it. It's absolutely mental.
I need to get a couple of
But
sandbags from Malay Beach.
I'm telling you, mental. I've never seen rain like it. But no, for me, exteriors wise, I take on about maybe 3 or 4 a year. I don't actually take on a whole lot of exteriors. I'm quite specific. I
Mm,
like to try and choose my exteriors. I know that sounds a wee bit, um, but I just from experience, it's a bloody nightmare.
yeah,
And the exteriors there, yourself. Like last year, I got caught out a belter, which was I allowed 3 weeks in Hollywood for a job. It took us 7 weeks.
yeah,
And I talk about in the academy group about 3 months. I don't book out any longer than 3 months now. I haven't done so for the last couple of years, just because I like to be in control of the type of work that's coming in,
yeah,
and from booking up too far in advance. I used to do that just for security. I didn't want to, no work, or what am I going to do? If a house, a family, a kid, the same problems we all have. But I actually found that, like, when I had 12 guys at one point, we were booked up for a year,
yeah,
and it was nothing but chaos. Only from the fact that, you went to a job in the Nards. I remember it well. You go in, you strip the wallpaper and all the plasters post, and the next thing you're trying to move the entire schedule. And it's like, yep. And then you're constantly on the back foot. Hello, Betty. Yeah, we're going to have to move you down 2 weeks. Sure, I've waited 6 months. I've got this guy. And then you're sort of running about, right, okay. And then you're on, right, I need help. I need this, I need that. And it all becomes very, well, I believe for myself, it doesn't, I prefer to wait, um, 2 to 3 months. And what I find is within that period, more work comes in. And what I learned as well was when I was booked up, all this really class work came in that I would have loved to have done that.
yeah,
And then ultimately I had to turn it down. So for me, I like to sort of stay in around a 3 month marker, and then it just keeps adding on and adding on. Um, but again, I would be quite not specific, but if I enjoy wallpapering, I want to try and push for more wallpapering,
yeah.
or more hand painted kitchens, or what I enjoy, if that makes sense. I've sort of stopped doing some stuff just for the sake of doing it. I love new builds. I've started doing a few more. new build works again, just because it's systematic and the guys enjoy it, I enjoy it. But what sort of work would you say attracts you the most? What do you love doing more than anything, or is there anything?
Well, I mean, we'll probably touch on it, but I mean, the spraying side has really gripped me. It really has. I have
Uh,
I sit and my wife's Danielle as well, so I'll say
oh, brilliant.
my wife would sit and we'll sit at night and right, what do you want to watch? Netflix? We'll put something on. What are we watching now? And I'm going, how long? I'm just watching TikTok here. This guy's doing some spraying. And Alan and myself are the same. We'll sit at lunchtime at the table and go, here, what about your man? Look at that. Look how that's lovely, isn't it? So that has really gripped me, and we plan to add it all into our repertoire moving forward.
Yeah,
We're not there yet, we're still learning and stuff to do, but I think that there would I like it to take over the whole role of our business? Maybe not, but I would like it to be a part of.
yeah,
I think I would like to be at a stage where if we see it, like you say, down the road, wants wants her bedroom painted or
yeah.
and a wallpaper put up on the outside of her house done in the summer, and she wants the PVC done, the door, fair enough, and the kitchen done. I can be the one stop shop. That's the kind of thing. I don't want to be gripped to just doing one thing, because I think after a while you lose traction on it, you lose full focus on it. I would like to, each job's different. Each one you go into, it has to be something you look forward to doing. And I think the variety and it's far better than just being one way.
Absolutely. I think that's the luxury of being a painter and decorator,
Yeah,
is the fact that we can, to me, I personally feel like every day is different. Um, if you want it to be. I mean, I used to be pretty much, I think, 2017 to 2022, 21, all new builds mainly, as well as the residential stuff. And I lost men over it. I lost sleep over it. It just got very Groundhog Day. And I ultimately made the call, which was to just pull the plug on it. It was a pretty big call, but um, it's knowing. I think you always have a gut instinct when something's not right or something that's not making you happy, and you got to act on it. But touching on spraying, from somebody that when I came back from New Zealand, all I did was spray. It was you were getting it sprayed whether you liked it or not, and that was like the fast lane to losing money. The biggest lesson
yeah,
learned there was that I hadn't allowed for it, and I talk about this in the courses as maybe you remember, maybe you don't, but I always touch base for everybody, which is you don't have to spray on every job. You offer your customer the option to have an amazing finish, and you know say to them the advantages of spraying, but a lot of people looking at spraying because of the speed, whereas I spray because of the finish. The byproduct of spraying is saving time on labour when it comes to application. But ultimately, when people say to me, "Oh, all that time masking," I mask anyway. That's how I mask a job. I want to protect the customer's house and keep peace of mind whenever I'm in their house so that everyone wins. So I think you know that yourself. I mean, you seeing the way you mask and prep is just class, man. I love seeing it. But as you say, spraying is an amazing tool in your toolbox. It
yeah,
shouldn't be the main bit of your business unless you're someone that's out spraying commercial projects. Like a couple of guys I know that do a lot of exterior industrial work up in Belfast there. So I think if you want to, it's either you either do it, you know, all the time, but you can't be just sort of. Um, what I'm trying to say is, it's like UPVC spraying. There's UPV spraying companies that are smoking it out there, but it's also great to be a decorator and have the ability to say to Sadie, you want that there kitchen window done in with the walls or done in with the colour you want to. And I think that's the biggest takeaway for me is in recent years is just give the customer the option. and let them decide and let them know the difference in the cost and let them just make an informed decision rather than you're getting they're shoving it down your throat, you know?
That's it. Yeah, and like I say, there is guys like I would say I've said it before. There we sit and watch videos and videos and videos, and the guys are that's what they do and that's what they're honed in on, and they do really well. But I just don't want to be the one trick pony that's all you are and that's all you're going to offer, because to me, unless you're in that sort of niche market area, you're narrowed. For decorators, we can turn our hand to the paper, and we can turn our hand to a spray, and we can lift a roller and a brush, and we can still create a great finish and leave the customer wanting or getting what they want.
Yeah.
I think that's really ultimately what we want to be. We want to be your one-stop decorator.
Yeah.
So that's it.
I think a guy when I used to live in New Zealand, he said to me, "Be the Swiss Army knife, Jared, or Jerry, whatever." In New Zealand, it was Jerry because I couldn't pronounce Jared, but it was be the Swiss Army knife, and
Yeah.
you never know it all. You don't know it all, and I certainly don't know it all. And I think that's in recent years, even sort of from the academy. Well, I sort of always been like that. I've always wanted to learn. I've always wanted to better myself. I've always wanted to get better, and I think you either there's two types of people. There's the people that know they can do better and act on it, and there's the people that sort of just saying, you know what, this is just the way it is, and this is the way it's always been, and that's the way it's going to continue. And I think for me, this is what drives me. Stuff like this here, where and the wee events, the taster events, and community-driven events, painted forward, which is bringing people together, like-minded, that want to better themselves. They want to discuss the bullshit, the hard times, but also celebrate the wins, celebrate, mate, you're smoking it. I landed this big project, class, love it. I landed, I won X award in terms of, they maybe won a paint award or they've maybe done this. And you're celebrating the fact that the industry here is getting better. The industry across the UK and Ireland it's elevating and it's going, it's getting better and better. So yeah, I don't know. I was off on a tangent there.
I agree.
The usual.
I just find like I first saw spraying. I'd just come back from Australia and I started working with Eddie Hall.
Yes.
And Eddie, we came up from Dublin doing the Chinese water margins. Next big project was the Merchant Hotel. That was the next big thing. And we were months into it, and I forget his name, guy from Bangor. It always reminded me of the wee tiger, Tintin. He was that kind of small, ginger, wee hair. It just always reminded me every time I see them, it was Tintin. But they had the paneling.
In a nice way.
Yeah,
Tintin.
well, of course. But they had the wall, the paneling as they do now, and he suggested the Eddie, maybe spray finish this. Just look class, look great. And I was going, spray, when even like an aerosol type of thing. What's a crack? He got the machine out, and I was standing watching him for ages. I'm sure Eddie's going, any chance you doing some work?
We were all like that.
And I was just that's the first I'd actually seen it live being used, working, and it was magic. But then I never thought, that I could do that. I never thought that, that could be part of what we do on a daily basis, or what we could offer. But I just thought from there, that's the first time I really seen it.
Yeah.
And then over the last couple of years, you see more and more and more of it. Social media has played a massive part in it. Is that you get to see everybody's work and what they do.
Yeah.
It's like the Venetian plaster, and I went and done the course in the Venetian plaster down in Castlewellan.
Yeah.
With DQ surfaces, and it was fantastic. It was great, and I thought, that could be another option for a decorative effect. Do I use it? No, but I know how to do it. I know how to apply it. I've had that bit, and if somebody says to me, listen, I'm going to get a Venetian plaster into this, well, I can do that for you.
Awesome. I didn't know that actually. I didn't know you did that.
Yeah, I went and done it. And that was actually, whenever I was getting back into painting, because I'd taken a break from the painting for a while, still done it, but I'd taken a break for a while and come back into it. I thought, right, okay, when I'm back in, what ways can I do things, or how can I be different than the next person?
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
and I seen it, and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to go and give it a go. And it was fantastic, great learning. We've done micro cement and stuff. Never going to use it really, but
Brilliant.
definitely the Venetian side of it, was certainly something I thought, well, if I have it, you can't take it away from me. I can do it.
That's
Whether
exactly.
whether I use it or not in my business, or whether people really want it, is another thing. But at least then I can say, you know what, I can offer you that.
I'm sure it's a bit like me jumping out of a plane last year. I mean, I did it. It's done, and I always want to do it. It's
You're not
like,
find
I
me doing
mean,
that.
who does that? You know what I mean? But I just took
No,
myself up one Saturday and jumped out of a plane, and it was one of the best experiences ever. But I'm just, again, one of them people. I mean, you touch on Venetian plaster, and I actually went to Paint Tech, a training academy, in 2021 or late 2020, and done spray plastering. So,
mhm,
um, seeing it online all the time, I thought this was huge. Now in New Zealand, it's all dry lining, it's all drywall. So I was just like, I can dry line. I'd never advertise it because I wouldn't want to be doing it all the time. It's one of them things. But when I was over there, it's sort of part of the. You had to be able to sort of fix stuff after the earthquakes, fiber fuse and patches and things. So, and I was taught that, and a good friend of mine who still lives there has a fantastic dry lining company. So I went and done the spray plastering course, thinking, wow, this is I'm going to revolutionize the plastering industry here, as well as the painting industry, because that's what it's like in New Zealand. It's usually plaster and painting companies. So I thought, you know what, let's go. But anyway, went over and done the course. It was over a couple of days, and the way I looked at it was, at least I know, instead of me looking at it all the time, bloody YouTube, you're on, I guess, going, right, so you spray that. I wonder, could I stick my artist in and it'll do the same job,
yeah,
even though it won't.
yeah,
So I went over there. It was a great experience, but I sort of went, this isn't enough, if we're going to do it right. And I went over, I asked my, I sort of told Stevie I was coming back over to New Zealand to work alongside with him for 3 weeks. And that's exactly what I've done. I went over and I sort of just shadowed him and learned, and just got to it. Of all the footage, it's just beautiful. It's class, when you see it being done properly. And there's only one guy I know in Northern Ireland, DK Taping, Darren Ireland, I think his second name is, and the guy is just class.
yeah.
But it got me realizing. Um, See, I'm a big believer when you invest in yourself, you'll always get it back 10x, no matter what it is. I don't care how small, I don't care what it is. If you want to learn how to price better, go to where sort of sells that and teaches you, or you name it, or paper and paint. And, there's all spray academies across the U. I'll just throw in some names. You've got Abode, you've got Paint Tech, all great places. If you're local, go learn, get better. But when I went over there and brought it back, I got offered an opportunity to do a hotel, and they were having issues with how they were going to finish these walls out because it ripped off all the commercial wallpaper, and I'm sure you've seen plenty of that. It's stuck all with bloody super glue, and it rips all the board off.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was able to come up with a solution to that, which was spray plastering, and I ended up winning one of the biggest contracts ever by being able to spray plaster. And I always talk about that because that was probably one of the biggest challenges for me. Was this wee lad from Newton Ards, won a job in Dublin,
Mhm.
six figures, and I'd never spray plastered before. Now, you got to go for it. You know what I mean?
Really?
Because you'll talk yourself out all these things, and a bit like your first job spraying like mine, you shit yourself and you think, what way is this gonna go? It's all right doing a course, but it's getting out into the real world and making it happen.
And that's it.
And I went down to Dublin with the lads, and honestly, we smoked it, and it was absolutely class. And what I did realize though was it's more suitable for me as a decorator refurb work, not, I approached the builder when I first learned, got into it and said, look, what about spray plaster? And he said, what about the rates? And he just went, never in a million years are you getting them rates in Northern Ireland. And I just went, good enough for me. This is a waste of time. And it was way off. And he was straight up and honest. He said, Jared, I would love to use this. It's going to solve a lot of my problems.
Yeah.
Faster turnaround, you name it. I had him sold until I told him the price. And now I just use it for refurb. I did Bedford House and at the 12-story staircase. I've done multiple, residentials with really bad walls. It's an amazing solution. But again, I don't push it because once you start pushing something, you're going to end up attracting that sort of work. And for me, like you say, you can do the Venetian plastering, but it's not something you're going to start saying DM Venetian plastering. It's not your love.
No.
But it's the tool in your toolbox. So, but look, what still keeps you excited? What still keeps you pumped?
Yes, to me, it's the satisfaction of whenever you walk into room, house, office, whatever it is, and it sits a certain way, and the customer has a vision of this is what I want, and this is how I want it to look, and this is what I want done. And whenever you walk out of it, that customer has exactly what they have, what they wanted. And I think that's just, it drives you. You're challenging me because this is what you want. Okay, I'm going to give you it.
Yeah.
And you set your standard by how you do it and what you do and what way you leave that house. And we touched on it earlier about masking and floorboards and protection and all the rest. One thing that I was always taught, Mum, Dad always said, treat people like you want to be treated yourself. And I kind of took that as if I'm doing painting and decorating, I'm going to treat this house as if it's my own.
That's right.
What way would I want that looked after? What way would I want somebody coming into my house and doing that sort of work? Well, I know I don't want paint all over my floor. I know I don't want it all over my windows. A furniture sitting about, I don't want that covered. So, I always had that in the back of my head whenever I'm doing it, treat somebody's house as if it's your own. And what way would you want that done? And that's stood by us. And I always think, whenever you leave, the expectation the customer had before of what they wanted, they've got. And that satisfaction, I think, second to none,
You're only as good as your last job. That's what Dad always drummed into me. It was just, son, you're only as good as your last job. See, he always said to me, look, see if you're going to go to a job and your heart's not on it, go home. Go home early.
Absolutely.
It's a bad day and hit it again in the morning. And that always stuck with me. It was always about the customer experience. And I always had this desire to, I think even from having people that working in my own house and seeing them work on mum and dad's house years ago, which was, what did they like? What did they not like? Mum was an OCD clean freak. So it was like, it's about leaving a house better than you got it in the nice way, not about and I've been masking houses the way I've been doing it since 2013 when I set up, Works NI, and I only started TikTok a couple of months ago, as you know, and you see a lot of the decorating trade. It's nearly like there's a split right down the middle, which is masking is for the people that aren't painters and decorators, and not masking is the raw doggers, the real, the proper painters. And I just think I always look at it in an open minded way, which is just not challenge it, but just approach it. Like everyone has their own way of doing things. And for me, and like yourself, because see your work's exactly the same, and a lot of decorators are now jumping in and saying, do you know what? Maybe this is a good idea because it does take the weight off the shoulders of worrying about a spillage, or it protects you, especially if there is old paint embedded in the frame or the floor, or etc. etc. And I think, I don't know about you, but I always get a customer will say, wow, this is unbelievable the way you've protected my home. And it's near enough every single customer hands down goes, Jared, and the team. It's not me, like the guy. Like this is next level, and
Yeah.
I'm like, this is just what we do. This is just the basics, and you forget about it.
You
You
do.
do forget.
It comes second nature. As soon as you walk into the job, the first thing I'll turn around, right, and I don't even need to look. He's away, he's getting the tapes, the pro board, whatever. He's pulling it out of a van, right? That's first thing first. And dust sheets is what everybody knows. It's old school. It's not old school because I still use them from time to time, but
Dust sheets cause dust.
well, correct. And that's it. But that's all we had. Nobody
Yeah.
really had. Nobody had floorboard before. So you put the dust sheet down, and you can't knock people that still do it.
100% not.
Does it suit us? No. Is it what we want? No. Can it cause hassle and harm? Yeah. A bit of paint goes through a dust sheet, still goes through and onto the floor. You're still cleaning. The pro board and stuff like that. The others use doesn't happen.
Absolutely.
It's just so more rest at ease in your mind. That's protected. I'm safe. If you get a wee spillage, that's no problem. Wipe that up and go again. Because it does happen. Everybody will drop a wee bit, splash somewhere.
That's why I put that video up the other day on TikTok. Me cleaning the paint off the floor, and I was told that you're not even a proper decorator or something about if you had it done up properly. And I'm like, someone could have been in there and moved something or done something, or the heat's a wet floorboard or it's dried out or something. I wasn't even in it. My guys did it, and I just come in. I was snagging the house out, literally just a wee bit of stuff on it and took it off. And it's the biggest thing is highlighting the mistakes and how to fix them. Because somebody that's maybe happened to is sitting with a bit of wooden floor with a paint and a green, but they're now scratching it and trying to get it. No. Just let the solution do the work. We get trips, we get runs, we get paint on things all the time, but it's making a choice. Do we leave it there and pretend it was the last guy? Or do you just clean it off and just get on with it? Is that all right?
That's another thing as well. Like I would go around and take a photograph before. If I see something, there's a photograph. This was here before us. Now we would try and clean that down and get it back to as clean as possible before we start.
100%.
It's making the customer aware. Look, it is here before we start. This is what we're going to do, and then showing them at the end that that's the way it finished. And it stands you in good stead. And people want to see that. People want to see somebody that's willing to take care of their home. They're at the end of the day, they're inviting a stranger into their home. Modern society you don't get many strangers in your home. There's certainly no strangers come into mine. What I mean? So it's you have to have that sort of mindset where listen, I'm going to look after your home as it's my own.
Yeah, do you know that one of the biggest things is it's like you save up for stuff. Like we get the bathroom done a couple of years back. You're saving up, and then all you want is it done right.
Yeah.
And one of my pet hates is whenever you have these groups, these big groups, thousands and thousands of people need a painter. I need someone who does this, that, and the other. I need him next week, and I need him to be reliable and well priced. And you're just like, well, you can't even be arsed to go and do a bit of research. You can't even be arsed to look up Google reviews. You can't be arsed to go and look at Facebook, Instagram, find out and do your due diligence and learn about that decorator. That's why you will never, ever see me throw my name into a pot. I call it the potluck. You are not going to get good results off the back of that. You may not, but if you look at all those amazing decorators out there, we know who they are. We see them all the time. They're booked up. They're booked up for 3 months, 4 months, 12 weeks, 6 weeks. They're booked up. You ain't getting somebody next week. And what annoys me more is that they're the same people that are on the next week going, had a decorator in, he's an asshole, he destroyed my house, he charged me a fortune, didn't cover anything up, he didn't sand anything, and they're suddenly the fussiest customers in the world.
Absolutely.
And it's like, well, hold on a wee second. That's your problem. That's a you problem. And it's so easy to blame the decorator in these instances, but at the same time, it's the homeowners doing their due diligence. And there's class painters and decorators across UK, Ireland, you name it. And as you know yourself, be prepared to wait. It's like exterior work. If you want your house done, my recommendation would be you're looking around right now, because
Yeah.
like you're going to be booked up very quickly with exterior work.
Yeah.
You won't be able to do, most decorators I know, um they book up pretty fast because the same like-minded situation, which is we can't take on loads because weather dictates what we do, so we have to
Absolutely.
be smart. But
Yeah.
as you say, from seeing just your Facebook, and like there's so many other decorators I want to have on, but the same thing, it leaves clues. Look at the way
Yeah.
they're protecting the home. Look at their prep work.
Yeah.
We're in an age now where, as I often talk about, which is nobody cares about the before and afters. It's about how you got there. It's about showcasing what your values are, what way you operate, and how you're going to carry out your work. Because ultimately, that's you selling to all your future customers. Because they might not get you right away, but they're going to say, I like the way he does things. That's class, you
Yeah.
know?
That's it. And it has to, you, for sustainability of your own business. You have to have that sort of mindset. It's just the way we see it. Not everybody has to agree with you,
Oh,
and I see decorators on TikTok and all. And I'm not going to mention any names, and they're doing this, that, and the other. Not the way maybe I would do it, or you would do it, or any other, but it's the way they do it. And if it works for them, charging £200 to do a room in a day, that's entirely up to them and the customer who's willing to accept that.
yeah.
It's essentially it's down to them at the end of the day. But
I think it is again a touch back on. People often talk about what's people charging. The question is, I always now I ask myself is, am I covering myself? Do I know what the true cost of me going to work? Do I know the true cost of me keeping the lights on before I even price a job? And for long enough, again, I didn't know what my operating cost was per day. I was guessing. I was like, well, he's charging 150 a day. I'll charge 150 a day, and that was why it was maybe costing me 160 a day to keep the lights on, or
yeah,
150 to keep the lights on,
yeah,
in the business. And I think it's all relative. I think everyone has that's on, when you know your true cost of operating your business, then you can make an informed decision in terms of what you can afford to say yes and no to when it comes to pricing and work.
yeah,
And it's the customer doesn't know what you need per day. And the problem I had back in the day was I had underpriced, and you're halfway through the job and you're going,
yeah,
yet I'm not going to make any money on this. I just worked 2 full weeks. No, sorry, I've just done 2 60-hour weeks, 70-hour weeks,
yeah,
and I'm making no money. And also underpriced the bloody materials as well. And I'm going to go to Betty and say, Betty, by the way, I need another 300 quid. And
yeah.
Betty often said, Jared, do one.
Absolutely. And then you listen
Yeah.
here, we've all done it. I don't think there's a decorator out there that'll turn around and tell you any different. We've all done it.
Yeah.
We've all done something and made the mistake. It's how we learn from it and what we do moving forward, and knowing them, like you say, them costs. What does it take for you to get into that van in the morning and drive off to
Yeah.
some place and do the work? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The other thing as well, like I have Alan with me,
Yeah.
so I have my livelihood. I've also got his.
Yeah.
So that's a weight as well. I've got to
Of
make
course it is.
as much as I have the work for him too. And that can be something that over empowers you too. As we're saying earlier on about having too much work and being too far in advance booked. Getting the next job sometimes is maybe hard enough, and seeing where that next wage is coming from. Those things are sometimes sink you. If you're not strong enough to deal with them challenges, that can blow anybody's business.
Of course, and I think For me, I would always say to anybody who's sitting there and saying, "Well, look, there's a couple of days here and there before the next job. Don't sit at home." I'm the first to say, in the academy group and things they got on Facebook, which is ring round. Can you come in and help? There's plenty of decorators there. We have a resource problem. There's not enough painters and decorators across the UK and Ireland. That's a fact. So if you're getting it tight, if a job's been cancelled, if you're struggling, ring round, join the right group. Ring a decorator in your area. Don't be too proud. Let the ego go and say, "Look, you know what? Introduce yourself. This is who I am. Look at me last year. Never happened to me before. We had a huge job cancelled, 2 weeks, September time." And I literally was sitting across the way there in the kitchen, and literally Jason Calder's put up he needed a paper hanger. And I literally just shot him a message, said, "Jason, you fancy I come in and give you a hand?" He couldn't believe it. He was just like, you? I says, "Yes." I says, "Love papering." I says, "I'm available, and I've also got a couple of men here if you need them." It was like, I'm pretty confident if I said to Jason that it was a big help. It was probably it was amazing that we were able to come down. We got his job done on schedule, or helped him get it done on schedule. It suited, it helped my business. I made great money. My guys had work. And then we were back to normal again. Now, Jared, 7, 8 years ago, would have went, "I'm not ringing anybody. I don't want anyone to know that I've no work." When actually, we're all valuable.
Yeah.
We have a skill set, and the most important thing is just lifting the phone and saying, "You know what? The cards on the table. I'm going to be honest with you. I've had a week cancelled. I'm going to come in and blow your socks off. I'm going to help you get this job done." And you know what happens then is whenever you ring him again, he'll go, "Let's go. Let's get at it." You know.
People have the stigma that it's a bad thing, or, well, I can't show my hand or anything. It's not.
No.
It happens to everybody. Everybody will have a day, 2 days, a week, 2 weeks. In your case, maybe at that point, that it will happen. It's inevitable. There's always a kink in the chain somewhere that stops you from doing what you want to do, or needing to do. And it's not just us. It's the whole society. I think it's that one that they don't want to talk. They don't want to open up and say, "Here, look, I need a hand," or, "I need help," or, "There's nothing. Can somebody help me?" I think it's a big stigma around everything, not just trades.
100%. I think it's just in our nature to just, we're the hunter gatherers. We're the ones that we can't be. We don't want to fail. We don't want to be seen as failures. And I think we all carry that. We often listen to, there's that voice in our head that says, "You're not enough. You could be doing more. You're a lazy bollocks." You know, but actually, it's telling that voice to get stuffed. And we all have days where we're busted. We can't be arsed and just chilling out lazy. Like, I'm not gonna lie, on Sunday there, or this previous Sunday, I just lay and did nothing. I was bollocks. Or it was on Sunday there. That's what it was, and I just lay and I'm just going, "You should be getting up and getting at it, doing the washing the vehicles, or getting outside doing the power washing or something like that." But I was busted. I think like the last couple of weeks have been pretty insane for me, and then it's just being able to say, "You asshole," and just, you're allowed a day off. And I don't know whether you feel that sometimes.
No, absolutely. My wife, she works 9 to 5, and her job, she's in an office, but her job's intense. There's a lot of running about and stuff. And she'll come in and she'll say to me, "Oh, I'm knackered," and she'll look at me and go, "I know I shouldn't be saying that because you're working hard too."
Yeah.
Just life, life's hard. Life is tiring. There's so many kids. It's even more hectic. Circumstances are all different. It's just life. We are allowed a day off. We're allowed to enjoy just doing nothing. And absolutely. I would like one of them days every month if you
It's not very often. I mean, when I say I done nothing, I chilled out and I watched movies. It was Back to the Future marathon with the girls, and I did nothing. And I was like, that was the last time I'd done this. And then I actually said to Danielle, I said, I'm sorry. I said, well, I'm sorry for it. I says, I am a lazy shite. And she went, gee, wise up. Your body, you need to chill out. You haven't stopped in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And, and I think it is important, and it's getting that stigma, as you say. Um, I think like Danielle and me will always say, some days I'm at 90 and she's at 10,
Yeah.
and that's where the partnership comes in. That's where you know to pick each other up. And some days I'm 50 and she's 50, and it's a good night, and we're all biz and with a bit of energy. And then there's some days I'm at 1,
Yeah.
and it's just like Danielle will be like, gee, I got this, go get a shower, chill out, and we'll have a glass of wine or something. And I think for me, I used to bring a lot of it home. And I had big squads, different things, and I touched on it recently there, which is, we need to learn to leave it at the door and stop bringing it into the house, because it's our like it's both partners, but
Yeah.
it's been able to leave it at the door and say, "Do you know what? This doesn't deserve to enter the house. The kids, the family, your relationship." Because Riley, see when you come in a bad form, the whole fucking house is in bad form in about 2 minutes flat.
Yeah.
Somebody has the TV up too loud. Turn it. Everything's a mess. And
It's
it's like,
finding
uh,
that
you,
balance.
and how do you get the balance? Is there a balance? Is it bullshit, or is it?
No,
How do you get the work life balance as a tradesperson?
I'm going to say, do you really ever switch off fully? I don't think you do. I don't. I can say you don't. You don't, because you're always, something's always in your mind at some point. You're maybe doing something. The kids go, oh, flip iron. Got to remember to do that, or got to remember to pack that, or got to remember to call them, or whatever. So I don't think you really switch off in any sort of way. Um, Definitely, well, for me, I've always been football. That's from that size, small size, right the way through, and I still am
Yeah,
involved. My son's involved. Excuse me. So, my time away with them doing that is my time where I switch off, kind of. And
yeah,
I said earlier on about when we sit down at night, we stick a series on. We switch off and we have that day. We'll chat for a while. We'll watch a film or a series and we'll get gripped in it. And next minute, it's 12 o'clock and you're 6 episodes deep. And you're going, right, come on, seriously.
One more, one
Yeah.
more.
Getting up here in 7 hours, we've got to make sure we're
Uh,
ready to go. It's those times that you do switch off. But when you're just running about doing day to day and, stuff around the house, you don't switch off really. If something's on the back of your mind, you keep going. That's it. I don't think you
I
ever
think,
really
I
do.
think, yeah, I think it's good that you have them football, and it's having them, and that you have to.
Yeah.
If you're committed, it's like, if you have 2 or 3 things to do of an evening, you need to finish work at
Yeah.
X whatever time. And I think a lot of the trades, I know I'm not going to speak for the entire industry. What I mean is, um, a normal working day is 8 to 4 or 9 to 5. In the trades, it's whatever the hell it is. Some days it's 7 or 6 in the morning to until it's done.
Yeah.
And it's like, I always find when I took up a hobby or two over the years, it just went to shit, because it was just, nah, work's more important. And then kids came along, and then it took me long enough to accept that this is bullshit.
Yeah.
Like I touched on it in the academy, where I think I know the kids were very young, but when you're seeing all the photos and you're not in them because you're away working, and your
Yeah.
excuse is, "Oh, I'm working, I'm providing for everybody," and everyone's sitting there going like, "It's really, yeah, my wee daughter's like," but what's the point? You never hear that, and you're
Yeah.
just like, okay, well, something's got to change. And I
Cut
think
stage.
it's been able, yeah, it's been able to recognize it. and actually say the story you're telling yourself is bullshit.
Yeah.
And and when you actually think about it, like I try and talk about, are you happy? And I'm talking to decorators and other painters and things. It's, it often comes up, are you busy? Are you making money, and what jobs you've got on? But ultimately, are you happy? And think to do what we do, um, you need to enjoy it. There has to be a desire to do it, because like to sit in sand all day or to sit in mask all day and to sit and for me, I think what drives me is the end result. It's the customer going, oh, this is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially after the one last week or the week before with the MDF Cornerstone. I mean, that was intense. That was
Right to the breaking point.
I was ready for the hills. 2 days to prep one room of Cornerstone, MDF Cornerstone, absolutely destroyed.
One thing before we go further. Alan, we're going to ask you a question, right? Alan and I have always said we watch a wee videos, right? And we watch it and we go, he's not on the move. He's not climbing over a bed to paint that ceiling. He's not moving wardrobes. He's not taking down curtain poles. But yet we're one slump with these jobs that we're struggling to find space to get down to paint a skirting board. You
Yeah.
know, we just can't believe it. Every time we see a video, some room's completely empty, and we're going like, why can we never get them sort of jobs? You know.
Yeah.
Do you tell your customers, look, this room needs to be totally clear before we come in, or is that something that you would?
Well, it's like this. It's going to be easier for me. It'll be
Yeah,
easier for the customer. What is in a room? There's a sofa or there's a bed. Now, ultimately, you stick the sofa on top of the other sofa, you keep it down the middle, and
yeah,
that's a brilliant scenario. But you know, move it out.
yeah,
Just let's just get it into the next room or get it. I know that's not always the case, but I suppose. Are you saying all my work? You never see
yeah. We
anything
never,
there is?
we never see you taking down a curtain pole or doing it. You see somebody else is doing it.
No, get it out.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
actually, that last job, I took off every single blind. I helped the customer out with all their units,
yeah.
and broke down her sofa
Oh, right.
and moved it into the kitchen because how was it going to wallpaper a ceiling?
Yeah, when we were climbing over the top. Yeah, that's
But for me, I just ask. I just say, look, can we get the stuff out?
yeah. That's it.
That's
Yeah.
it. Well, it's like, well, I used to do that. I broke my toe once in Bangor. What was it called? Like a daily Broadway, Broadway. The road is it? A house in Broadway,
Uh,
in Bangor, and left in a wardrobe by myself, and I was out on my own in the early days, and broke my toe, trying to move it, and I fell on my toe, and me standing there, in my hands.
uh,
But
nothing
like,
worse.
see for me, yeah, yeah. So see for me, like, um, work together, work with the customer, and just say, look, can we get this room emptied?
Yeah,
Because I ain't working around that, you
yeah,
know. And I know what you're saying. Those box rooms, those box bedrooms. I mean, turn the bed up on its side.
yeah,
Put the word. You know yourself. But I don't. I put that into my quotation. I ain't. You want me to, like, we provide a service which will go into your entire house and absolutely dismantle everything, move everything. It's all can be built into the cost, but I'm not a removal company, and
yeah.
I'm not taking if I and I learned the hard way. Every single thing, it's because I learned the hard way. Between breaking things and
That's it.
those we roll up blinds and different things, you name it. So for me, it's why I don't want the responsibility of potentially by accident breaking somebody's property and it being worth a couple £100. I'm there for nothing.
Yeah.
And is it too much to ask to move the stuff out?
Yes, I suppose not. I mean, like, they want you to do the best. If you're struggling to get down to paint the skirt board because you've a foot of a gap. You know,
100%.
it's no good. It's not ideal.
I would
You
just
know,
yeah, just start asking
yeah.
when you're out with
We always wondered. We watch the videos and we were laughing at each other, going, "I got this guy that never has anything to move," or flip me if we got these jobs, would be great. You know.
You just don't see that stuff, David. We move everything.
Yeah.
It's us moving it, but again, I build that into the cost. And
Yeah.
just I allow a couple of hours. Oh, that's miserable. That's this. That's that. Um, Tesco's don't deliver your shopping for free.
Yeah.
McDonald's don't pack up your food for free. So hold on to a see here. What's going on? There we go. But so yeah, like it's fair is fair.
Yeah.
A tarmacer doesn't come and do your driveway with a car on it. So it's just common sense for me. If I was having somebody in my house, I don't want my daughter's bed covers getting covered in shite. I don't
Yeah.
want muck all over the place. If somebody's telling me they're going to mask my carpet, here, get that.
Yeah.
It's a win. It's a win-win. But before we end, well, I can't believe it's an hour nearly already. But so, what was your biggest win? Let's end up, Paul. What was your biggest win of 2025 as DM Decor? Doesn't matter how big or how small.
Do you mean monetarily
No,
or?
no, no. Just what was the most
I
positive
think
thing in business in 2025, and what is your main goal for 2026?
the 2025 biggest thing was adding, and now at one point last year I had two with me. Having Alan now left, there's only the two of us. It's having him and the work that he's doing, the work that he's learning, the courses that we're doing, the knowledge that we're gaining. I think last year that's the big thing. Learning something new, having something else in your repertoire. And that there knowledge is key. Knowledge is a bomb. That's what we need. And to me, those things are more valuable than the money.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
100%.
The money comes at the end.
Byproduct. Yeah.
Absolutely. Learning that, having that. 2026, I'd say it probably at the start of the video, it's the conversation is being able to offer more. Being able, we're next Saturday, the 20th, UPVC, we're going to the taster event, Alan and I.
Oh yes.
There's a plug for you. Yep.
It's gonna be awesome.
Plug for it. So we have that to look forward to. We're going to be adding that into our business. The airless spray, we've done the basics. We're going to be going on it. The 3-day kitchen refinishing, we're going to start with them too.
Oh,
I have inquiries already because I've done the airless and we've done some videos of how we're doing other stuff. Can you do my kitchen? Yes, I can, but not right now. I'm not there at the minute. So that's the future. That's a plan for this year that we're hopefully going to roll out sooner than later. Definitely, this year going forward, it's adding more to the business and what we can offer. Definitely.
I think, yeah, I mean, that sounds awesome. And again, it's sort of the same as me. It's just constantly trying to get better. And
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's what's great about what we do is it never stops. And the industry in itself is constantly innovating.
Yeah.
And I think the industry has absolutely went like that there with the people that want to. You can be left behind, or you can be part of the train, or get on the train with it. And
yeah,
I think ultimately as well, I don't know about you, but I think it's who you surround yourself with. It's who you're around. It's who you reach out with, and I think that's the biggest thing for me. Is me. I love meeting other decorators. I love having those conversations. Not going into the paint shop and going, I'm the guy who walks through and goes, "Morning, how are you doing? You know, what's the crack?" And they're like, "Who the fuck's this guy?" You know. But ultimately, yeah, I mean, I'm super excited about the taster event. Is that next? Is that next week? Jesus Christ.
This
Uh,
Saturday week, 20th.
it's gonna be awesome. The first taster event. It's gonna, yeah, it's gonna be insane. And like me, like I'm constantly trying to get better. I'm trying to improve the courses, trying to improve the taster events to make them just where everyone's leaving, going, "Holy shit, I need to go back to the next one."
Yeah,
And it's also meeting other decorators. I don't care what anybody says. It's actually the conversations you see
yeah,
whenever I'm running about and having the coffee and the buns or the pizza, and everyone's gelling and chatting, and the crack's 90. And we're all learning together because I'm ultimately learning. I'm standing there. Davey is an absolute asset to, well, anyone that's near him, you know, the wealth of experience he has and the people I look up to, you know, and I go, wow, you know, if I knew that much of what you know,
yeah.
it would be class. And I think that's just what I'm trying to encourage is just to just get into the arena. You know, that's what I want for painters and decorators across Northern Ireland, UK, Ireland, you name it, is that ultimately just build that community up and create these events. People come, people might not come, but I don't, it is what it is. The right people always come. And the good thing is it's that like mindedness, that common ground where um, we're all there for the same reason, which is just
Absolutely.
to improve ourselves and get out of the house.
Yeah, yeah,
Because it is a lonely game. It's definitely a lonely game, and it's bouncing off different things and then building those relationships up so that whenever we do go away from these events, there is some of the message. Mate,
yeah,
this sprayer's not working right, or this paint's not playing ball, or this customer hasn't paid, or and that's what again the Paintworks NI Academy group is all about, which was that raw honesty and keeping it real and a safe space to ask those questions. So
yeah.
but love it. I wish you all the very best for this year, and
Get it.
I've absolutely loved this last hour. It's been absolutely brilliant. It's been refreshing. It's been like a
That's it.
dumping. It's been an offload of
Yeah,
whatever. But
absolutely.
so thank you for being the very first person to come on and join me, and I hope it encourages others to reach
Ab-
out. And
Absolutely.
like I
Absolutely.
said, these weekly Thursday night 8 o'clocks is going to be open to everybody. It's going to be, I want an apprentice. I want female painters, decorators. I want seven-figure painter decorators. I want six-figure. I want people that have just all across the spectrum because it's there's a lot of bullshit out there and you see a lot of stuff and you go, you know, as well on like I'm a very positive person, but it's like, how did they get there?
Yeah,
How did they get to where they are? And a lot of the time it isn't as plain sailing as you think. And that's what I want to get. I want to get out there um, where most of us can go, do you know what? We've quite a lot in common actually, or maybe I'm not doing as bad as I think.
yeah,
And maybe I should just say, do you know what? I'm doing pretty good in all things considered. So it's just helping the industry and just building that bridge, that connection to bring people together. And if you're interested, I'm just going to do a wee bit of wee bit of housekeeping or plug. I don't know what it's called, but taster events. Look out for them, folks. They book up really quick now. We have live events, which is with our courses. We have Paint It Forward coming up on the 30th of May. So if you're a painter and decorator and you love what you do and you want to share and donate your workmanship, your craft, your skill set for one day at a project which is yet to be announced for charity for a local community initiative. Last year we did Paint It Forward 2025 where 28 of us painted the inside and outside of an autistic charity in Dundonald about 10 mile or 8 mile from where I live. It was an amazing day, and we've got loads happening. It's only going to get better when we've got people like David and all the other awesome guys that put themselves out there, get comfortable with uncomfortable, and make it happen. So thanks for tuning in, David. You're an absolute legend.
Good man. Thanks
Appreciate
for
your
having me.
time, and I will
Thanks for
speak to
having
you
me.
soon. Thanks, everyone.
Good man.
Take care.
Cheers.
Bye bye.